Hi, everyone. My name is Debbie Foster, and I want to welcome you here to my Creating Cards with Debbie. And we're going to be doing 3 cards today, so I hope you enjoy them. And like I said, my name is Debbie Foster, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm located in Bismarck, Arkansas. And I want to thank you for spending a little time with me today. So let's go ahead and get on to our housekeeping notes. And so we can get on to the fun stuff. All right, first off, until August 31st, which is Monday, you can shop for our designer series paper and cardstock we have on sale, and it's 15% off select designer series paper and cardstock. That's even the 12 by 12 two-tone cardstock is included with that. So these are while supplies last. So there might be some that you want that might be already gone, but there's still a good selection in there. All right. And then next we have 2 kits that have been added. And this one is called the Witchy Whimsy Hat Kit. It is $28. And I don't have the code number for that. So it should show up in my online store. And also another new one is the Crafted Blooms Kit. This doesn't come with any stamp set. It is $14, and those boards are not included with it. So that's another add-on that you can add to it. All right, then the Paper Pumpkin Kit for September is called Aspens of Gratitude. And with this one, you've got until September 10th to subscribe. It says, share your gratitude with cards featuring beautifully hand-painted woodland designs. It makes 10 cards, which is out of our norm. We usually only do 9 cards, so you're getting an extra one in there. And it is 5 each of 2 designs with 10 coordinating envelopes, pre-cut paper pieces, self-adhesive gem embellishments, and the new Stampin' spot that you're going to get with this is going to be our new design, which is a little bit different than our old one. It's kind of sort of like a rectangle instead of a square. And the Stampin' spot that's going to be with this one is going to be early espresso. And also you can add on the matching add-on dies that go along with that are called the detailed flora dies, and these are while supplies last. And these coordinated with the July, August, and September Paper Pumpkin kits. And the item number is 168664, and the cost is $13. I don't have a picture to show you. It wouldn't load for me this morning. And then next we have our product of the month, which is running until, well, the end of August now, until Monday, is called Glow of Harvest. And this is a 12 by 12 specialty designer series paper. It's 12 sheets, 2 each of 6 single-sided designs. Pearlized finish adds a lovely shimmer to every page. Acid-free, so it's photo safe. And the colors in this are the Cajun Craze, Crumb Cake, Early Espresso, Gold Glow, and Pecan Pie. And we're going to be using that today. So I'll give you some samples that you can use with that. And you can receive this one if your order is $75, and it'll cost you $5 for the pack. So that's really a bargain. All right, I think I've gone over my housekeeping notes, so we can put those aside. Okay, and don't forget that Stampin' Up! Is changed to doing 3 catalogs a year. Let me remove these and get back to seeing me, which I don't know if that's good or bad. But anyway, like I was saying, Stampin' Up! Has changed to doing 3 catalogs a year instead of 1 annual and then 2 smaller ones during the year. So this one, I'm going to just change down to my desktop so you can see what I'm talking about. Give me just a moment. All right, so like I said, the Stampin' Up! May to August 2026 catalog is going to be ending. Monday will be the last day to order from this one, I think. I'm going to say it's ended. Let me look at the back. Yeah, August 31st is the last day to order from it. So if there's anything in there that you might want to get your order in sooner than later before they're gone. And then next, also, we're going to be using some hot foiling today, which I'm going to be using some of the product out of there today. I'm going to be using the gold foil and let me see which other one I was going to use. It's got the words, the small words, which is the Sweetly Sentimental Bundle. But I'm going to only be using the dies and the hot foil dies and the die cutting dies out of this one, and then the gold foil. And if you haven't gotten your hot foiling system machine yet, you can also find that on the second page of this flyer. And it is a Stampin' Hot Foil System and Craft Class. You get a free class to go along with it. And it is item number 170009. And the cost is $160. And you'll get the machine and everything that you need to do the foiling, but you need to buy the foil and the dies separately. And we've got another one that's going to be starting on the 1st of September, which the catalog is our holiday one. I guess everybody's calling it our holiday one because it's got a lot of holiday items in it. And it is September to December 2026. And I can't open the catalog, but I can show you the cover and the back side, which will give you kind of a sneak peek of some of the things that are in there. And then to go along with that, we've got a new flyer or brochure that has more of the dies to go along with our hot foiling system. This is called Radiance Awaits. And I don't think I can open this one yet either until, not till next week. So look forward to seeing all those new items. All right, so let me set these out of the way and we'll go ahead and get started. I think I've covered everything that I need to cover for today. Let me just straighten up my area here a little bit. All right, to start off with, I think I'm going to start, well, let me just grab the one that's in the first line here. We're going to be using our product of the month paper to do this item. And my husband's running around with the lawnmower out there. You can probably hear him buzzing by. All right, so here is our first card. It says, so many reasons to celebrate. I'm going to be doing some heat embossing with this one. And on the inside, I hope your day is fabulous. So I've done some of the prep work ahead of time, like the fussy cutting. And let me get my instructions here. We're going to start out with our card base, which is going to measure 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches, or 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. And then it's scored in the middle at 5 1/2 inches. And this is our crumb cake cardstock. So I'm going to bring my bone folder over here and we're going to burnish that fold line. I forgot to say, when you come on, please comment, say hello, where you're watching this from. And if you're watching me on my YouTube channel, I'd appreciate you subscribing to my channel. And I'm going to put up my link so you can shop with me if you want to order any of the items that I might be doing today, or any items that you might be in need of for your crafting projects. So we're going to be going portrait style with this card, the layout. And then next we have our Golden Glow cardstock. Measures 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. And I've already embossed it already. And I used the Fern and Flora 3D embossing folder. That doesn't really show it really good. Maybe this picture will show it better. You can kind of see it. Let me see if I put it behind there. Does that help? A little bit. You can kind of see that. All right. And like I said, this measured 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. It's going to be the exact size of the front of our card. So I'm going to put everything together first before I attach it to our card front. So next I've got that pretty paper. Now let me show you that. I know the flyer didn't give it justice, so let me dig that out. And we'll show those to you. here's one. And like I said, they're one-sided, so it's just plain white on the back side, as you can see. But very pretty, and I don't think the camera is really doing it justice. It's kind of like it says, pearlized. And this one. I haven't even used this pattern yet. We've got some leaves and some pumpkins. We're using those today. I just fussy cut those out. And this one, I'm not sure what those are called. There's two the same. Okay, so those are the specialty paper. Very pretty. I hope it doesn't sell out real soon because I'd like to continue using it for a while longer. Let me get rid of my banner there. All right, so here's our embossed layer. And then this is the pattern of the designer series paper that we're using. And I'm going to be using this on another card too. I already fussy cut the flowers out. We're going to add that to the center of that embossed layer and grab my glue. And we'll put that down. So I hope everybody's had a good week and you've had some time to do some crafting, whatever your passion is, scrapbooking or card making or 3D projects. I had a scrapbooking kit class yesterday in my house. I had some friends over and we worked on those for about 3 hours, I guess it took us. That was really fun, getting to see everybody and getting to share our passion with each other and some ideas that we threw out there to help everybody out. All right, we're going to go ahead and attach this now to, well, no, I've got another layer to add yet. I've got our Cajun Craze that I die cut that using our party banners. And this measured 2 7/8 inches by 5 inches. And it's a little bit bigger than our die is. So what I did is I put it at the bottom and I just kind of run it through my embossing machine, probably my cut and emboss machine, probably up to about here. I didn't do the whole length of it because I didn't want it to cut off the up part of this. So you can do it that way, or you can just use your scissors and flag it at the bottom. That was a little bit lazy. All right, this is going to go at the top of this over our designer series paper, centered. And we'll add our glue. Okay, my paper didn't look like it was laying the right direction. So let me, well, no, we need to heat emboss on this. I almost got ahead of myself. All right, we'll set this aside for a moment. We're going to bring our heat gun over here and do some heat embossing. Where did I put my lid for my glue? Here it is. Lay that right there. I've got a scrap paper here to lay underneath so we don't make a mess. I've got my heat gun. I've got, all right, I've got my toolkit here. My Versamark white embossing powder. My Stampin' Buddy, embossing buddy. I'm just going to add a little of that to the bottom of our tag here so I don't have any sticking where I don't want it to stick because of the oil of our fingers and such. It's on the paper and it wants to grab any embossing powder there that's not supposed to be. All right, and I'm going to do so many reasons to celebrate. And this comes from the Flowering Meadow stamp set. So many reasons to celebrate. So we're going to ink that all up with our Versamark ink and make sure I get enough on there. So never have too much Versamark. So I'm going to stamp that right at the bottom edge of our banner. And I probably should have cut 2 of these in case I mess it up, but we're going to hope for the best. And then put the lid on our Versamark. And I'm going to bring my white embossing powder over here and saturate that. And tap that off a little bit. And I was going to set this aside because we're going to be doing the inside also. So no use closing it all up too tight yet. And we'll heat up our gun. And I don't know if that's loud on the video or not. I think it's probably muted a little bit. All right, that should be heated enough so we can start the magic to begin. Heat embossing always fascinates me. There's something about it. It's like magic. Do the back side just a little bit to straighten out our paper. And that's all there is to that. So we're going to bring our card back over here. And now we can add that to the center of our designer series paper. You could put dimensionals on the back of this if you'd like to. I didn't, I just kept it flat. I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of the pumpkins, so I'll have enough height there. So I want it to be able to go through the mail fairly good. And I'm just looking to make sure I'm all the right side up here. And I think it doesn't really matter. There's no directional of it. We'll go this way. We're going to center that onto the designer series paper, butt it right up against the edge of that top layer. And center that down. While I'm working on my pumpkins, I'm going to put a little weight on that to make sure it attaches well. So we just set that aside for a moment and let that do a little flattening. All right, I fussy cut my pumpkins already from that designer series paper with the pumpkins on it. Let me bring that back out here again. Show you which one I used. And okay, it was 2 different ones that I used on this. I used the pumpkins, and for our background designer series paper, I used this pattern. So 2 different ones. Very pretty. All right, so I fussy cut those pumpkins out. And I've got different sizes here, and plus I cut out some of the leaves. Not sure I'm going to be using all those. And then one for the inside is just a partial one off the edge. And some more over here that are hiding. So I'm going to go ahead and place those on dimensionals. Flip them all over. I didn't put any dimensionals on the back of the leaves at all, just the pumpkins themselves. Grab my Take Your Pick tool to get those off. And I'm going to keep them mostly close to the bottom, the lower portion of the pumpkins. All right. That should be good, I think. So let's go ahead and attach this now to our card front. Going to need a new bottle of glue here pretty soon. I should have grabbed another one. I think we're good for today. All right, make sure my card is opening the right direction. We don't want it upside down. This is going to match up completely with the front of the card, so I'm going to hold it down flat and line up those edges. And turn that over and give it a hard press. Only because it's got an embossed layer, so sometimes it takes a little more to grab hold, but I think that's good. Everything looks fine. All right, now we're going to start arranging our pumpkins how we want them. And I'm just going to do a dry fit here first. I'm going to do the ones with the extended at the top. And try to decide how I want them to lay. And then we've got our little pumpkins going to go at the bottom center. All right, so I think that might look pretty good. So we're going to start attaching. Let me bring my dish over here from my trash. And let's slip that under approximately where I had it before. I'm actually getting the dimensional backings to come off fairly easy today. And oops, I don't want you laying on top of that. Get that dimensional beside there, not on top of it. And I think I want to put a small one at that on top, underneath that leaf there. So I'm just going to take off a little corner, sneak that underneath. We'll just lift that up and place that down. And then next we have, this one's going to go there. All right, I kind of like that way. So I kind of changed it a little bit. I was saying I wasn't having problems with them, but maybe it's going to make a liar out of me here. Hard to believe that it's the end of August already. I just don't understand where the time goes. And now, whoops, our little one jumped out of my fingers. And place that right about there. And we're going to fill in with some leaves here just to fill up some empty spots. I'm just going to use my adhesive to put those down with. You could put them on dimensionals if you wanted to, but I didn't think that they needed it. And place that centered underneath there. And I don't know. Maybe right there. It kind of looks good. No particular place to put them, just wherever you feel the need for some fill in. And I've got some glue on there, but it's going to dry clear, so it's not going to show. And then next we have I guess that could go right there, fill in that little spot. We've got a lot happening in the Stampin' Up! World with all of our sales and new catalogs and new online exclusives and everything coming out at the same time. All right, we're going to set those aside for now. And then we have a double bow that I made out of our crumb cake baker's twine. And that's in that essential pack where you get 5 different colors. And I'm kind of fixing my bow here. It kind of got messed up when it was packaged in my envelope thingy. And I'm not sure where I want to put it. Maybe I don't want to cover up my sentiment either too much. Where, oh where should we put you? Maybe right there. And I'm going to grab my mini glue dots that I get in my paper pumpkin kits. Works real good with the skinny twine. And this one just doesn't want to lay right. Can I twist it to do like it's supposed to? All right, and we're going to set that right there. And I did put some gems on here. I used, these are the Radiant Gems. And these are either in the suite for the pumpkins or it's in the suite for the sunflowers. I'm not sure which one. And these are available September 1st, all of these items, the pumpkins. So you just got a few days left and you can get your hands on those. All right, and which one do I want to use? I think I want to go with the goldish color. So I'm going to grab the medium sized first, and then 2 small ones. There goes my husband again. All right, so here's the outside of our card. So many reasons to celebrate. And you can see the pumpkins, kind of. My lighting isn't real good today. All right, then next for the inside, I've got another Cajun Craze. And we're going at 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. And I'm going to do some heat embossing with that also on the inside, which says, I hope your day is fabulous. And oops, wrong one. All right, where did it go? Oh, it's right here beside me. And this comes from the Painted Pumpkins stamp set. It says, I hope your day is fabulous. And we'll heat emboss that also. I'm going to use the same items that we had previously. And I bring my scrap paper back over here. And I'm going to powder this up so I don't have any static cling going on. Grab our Versamark pad. I should have turned my fan on. It's starting to get warm. We're still hot in Arkansas yet. And we'll stamp that upper center. Close those up. And powder disappearing here. Do I have enough on there to do this? Maybe. Just kind of scrape that up and use it. I will dump it back in my jar later. But I think that does a good job right there. Maybe a little bit more. Just to be sure. All right, now we're good. And I'm going to set that over out of the way. Bring our heat gun back over here. Do some magic. It just takes a moment for it to heat up to start melting the embossing powder. But once it starts, it doesn't take long at all. As you can see, it's already almost done. All right, that's it. Quick and easy. And knock off some of the powder. Get some on my desk there. I'm just going to add this pumpkin that I cut out from the edge of the paper, where it's kind of cut off at the one side, but works good on the inside along an edge of your cardstock. We don't want to waste, so let's use all we can. And we'll set that the lower right hand side. And then we'll put that inside of our card and call this card done. Okay. We're also going to be doing some hot foiling today too. So we've got two different ways to add to our cards. We've got the heat embossing, and then we've got the hot foiling. So all right, so here's our first card. So many reasons to celebrate. I hope your day is fabulous. So that doesn't have to be for any special occasion. It could be just a just because card to somebody that's needing a little pickup. So, all right. Let me clean up a little bit here and get the messy stuff out of the way so we don't make more of a mess. I'll set those aside. And I've got a couple leaves left over to use next time on something. I'm just getting some of that embossing powder off. All right. So that took care of that. And next one is going to be I think we're going to do use our product of the month again, the paper on this one. Let me get all my bits and pieces out here before we start talking about it and showing it. Oops, and I bumped the camera. Sorry about that. All right, so like I said, I'm going to plug in my hot foiling machine because we're going to do some hot foiling on this one. So let's get that plugged in while we're talking here. It takes about 6 minutes for it to heat up. So here's our card, Sending Hugs. I'm going to change up this one a little bit compared with this one. It's going to be a little different. I'm going to be using a darker sentiment with the gold. So we'll see how that looks. So we've used that same paper. Use the one with the acorns and then that flower one that I showed you. And I don't have anything in the inside on this one, but we're going to on the one that we make. So I hope you'll enjoy this one. All right, we're going to start off with our card base, which is our early espresso. And it measures 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. And then it's scored in the middle at 5 1/2 inches. So we're just going to burnish that fold line and get that aside for a moment. And I want to make sure which way I want it to do this. Okay. And then next we've got that Designer Series paper, which is the one that's got the acorns on it. And this measures 4 1/8 inches by 5 3/8 inches. So we're going to attach that to the front of our card. Yep, we're going to get a new bottle of glue here pretty soon. It's getting down to the end of it. All right, and place that down. We're just going to have a small edge going around it. It doesn't quite fit the front of the card. Just a little edge. All right, we're going to set that aside for a moment. We're going to work on our next area. And then next we have our early espresso. Again, this is 3 inches by 4 1/2 inches. And then I've got a layer of very vanilla cardstock, which is 2 3/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. And we're going to bring over our scrap paper here, and we're going to splatter that using our Stampin' Blend, which is our bronze. This comes along with the ivory Stampin' Blend. Okay, and I'm going to use the brush end, and I'm just going to take out my aggressions, and I'm going to splatter that very vanilla just to tone it down a bit. And hopefully I didn't get it on my shirt. I think it is washable. Hope so. All right, and then next we fussy cut one of those flowers out of that same paper that we used previously. And very pretty. I fussy cut that out, and it's going to go on the front of that. But first I'm going to attach these two together. First I want to add some linen thread across this. So we're going to bring our tear and tape and add a couple of strips on each side at the bottom to hold the linen thread on the back side. So we'll flip that over, place a couple of strips of tear and tape to hold the linen thread. And I'm going to wrap our linen thread around this 3 times. Lift that off. Oops, it wasn't ready to come off yet. All right, I think my husband's moved on. I don't hear him as loud. All right, and then I'm going to attach this down to that tear and tape. And I think I'm going to put that up a little bit higher. Wrap that around 3 times. And my scissors to snip that off. And now we can attach that to our early espresso mat. I had my husband out here mowing, and then I had the road grader across the road grading the dirt road. So he was making noise. Noisy morning. At least JoJo's being quiet. I can't blame her. All right, and we're going to place this up on dimensionals. We'll bring those back over. And I'm going to use my edges here, so don't forget you can use the edges of your dimensionals. Don't throw them away. They're still good. And place them down. We've almost used up a sheet of dimensionals now. All right, take your pick tool to grab those off with. Put that away, bring this back over, make sure we're opening the right direction. And we're going to center that in the center of our card. Yeah, that's really crooked. Can't have that. Let's go minutes. Those are some sticky dimensionals. They grab hold fast here. All right, try this again. And that looks better. Okay. Now we're going to grab our flower, and we're just going to glue that directly down. You could put it up on dimensionals, but I don't think I want that much of a thickness. And I'm just trying to figure out which way this goes. So maybe let's put it that way. Looks like that's probably the right way. I don't think there is an upside to it. And we'll just lay that down. Our machine's ready. Good. All right, just in time. Good timing. So we're going to set that aside. We're going to do our hot foiling. We'll bring that over here. And so it's all ready to go. So I'm going to be placing my dies down on top of this. And I'm using, these are called the Sweetly Sentimental. And it gives you a bunch of words and then a die that cuts it out. So it's really easy to do. And when I'm done, I'm going to show you something else that I did along with this. But we're going to place that down. And we're going to hit our button again to heat up our die. And set these over here. We're going to be using those in a little bit. And my foil, I got the gold foil. And I cut that at 3 inches by 5 inches. And also the berry vanilla. Oh, no, I wanted to use, not that. I want to use the early espresso. So let me grab that instead while we're waiting. I changed up my mind. Early espresso. Maybe the 3 by 5 piece. Bring over my paper trimmer. So let's go 3 inches by 5 inches. Right. Put that there for now. We'll save this for another project later. All right, so I got 3 by 5 early espresso, and our gold foil is 3 by 5. So, and of course, my air conditioner is running, so it's blowing my foil around. So hopefully it'll stop before we have to use it. All right, so there's that, and we're going to lay our foil first. And I'm doing this gold side down. And then our early espresso on top of that. Well, there we go. And then we've got our hot foil shim goes first. And then the hot foil spacer, which is a clear plate, goes on top of that. And we're going to set that aside for a moment. We're going to bring over our cut and emboss machine. This is a large one. If you have the big shot, our system won't fit through it, so need a larger one. And this is in our catalog. You can purchase our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. If you don't have one, if you're in need of one, I highly recommend it. All right, we're going to go through slow. It advises us to run it through slowly. So slow as she goes. Right, so we're going to bring that over here and we'll set that down. We're going to be bringing that back in just a moment. All right, and take off our plates here. Whoops, and everything came off at the same time. Oop. And my foil moved on me, so I'm going to hope for the best here. Let me take that off and see what that looks like. All right, I guess we've got that. It looks okay. I'm using the one up here anyway, sending hugs. And I'm going to keep my foil because we've got another plate that's coming out that's going to be doing the reverse foiling. So I'm looking forward to that. And I should have set that on my rubber mat. All right, and then we've got our tool to pick that off with. It's a magnetic, and then we set it right over on our cooling mat. We don't burn our fingers that way. So let's set this on the side. And we're going to bring those dies back over here. We're going to die cut those out with the matching die. And it lines right up. You've got 2 squares here on the sides. Those match up with these little squares that are on there gold foiled. And I have lost my washi tape this morning, so I'm going to use a Post-it note instead to hold it in place. So let me grab one of those. I've got some clear ones here. I guess I could use those. So probably getting my head in the camera. Shows all my gray. And I'm just going to stick that down to hold it. We'll bring our cut and emboss machine back up here. I could have grabbed my mini machine for this one, but I didn't. And you're going to cut this like you normally do. You've got your base 1, your base 2, and then 2 cutting plates, which are the number 3s. And make sure that doesn't move on me. And it did a little bit. So let's grab another one of those just to secure it better. You don't want to go through all this and have it move on us. Mess it up. All right, this you don't have to run slow. You just run at your normal speed. And creaking of the plates is natural. Nothing to be concerned about. All right, we'll set that back down again, out of our way. And do the final reveal here. Take off our sticky notes. All right. Okay, so there's the die for cutting those out. And you've got all these sentiments that you can use later. So I've done mine in different colors. So I have an assortment. And I made this little box to put them in. And I've labeled each one with the little file folders. So if you want, I can do a live showing you how to make that little box. It's got a lid, but I just set the lid underneath it and I leave it open most of the time to make it easier to grab. So let me pull that out. Well, I've got that fitting in there pretty snug. So it's got the bottom portion and then the top lid. You could decorate a little bit more, but I haven't done it yet. And it just, they all fit in there nicely and keeps them all organized. And I have separate folders for each sentiment. All right, but we're going to be using the sending hugs, and all these I'll put in my little box later. So let me know if you want me to do a live showing you how to make that box. All right, we'll bring our card back over here, and we're going to put our sentiment on there. But first, we've got our linen thread, which I made a triple bow, and we're going to add that to the bottom. And I need my mini glue dots again. And I want to, maybe I'll put it right there, I guess. I had my original off to the other side, but I'm going to change this one up a little bit. All right, and our sentiment is going to go, well, where do we want it? Could almost put it anywhere. It doesn't really matter. But I think I'm going to go right there. And I didn't put this on dimensionals either. I just glued it down with my adhesive. If I can get it to work. I don't know, I might put this one up higher. Let's put that one at the top area. Change it up just a little bit. All right. And we'll trim those tails off of our bow. Sending hugs. All right, on the inside, I'm going to use very vanilla cardstock, which measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And we're going to stamp okay, sending hugs on the outside and always here for you on the inside. And I used the stamp set Lovely Arrangements. This is in the last chance area and it's marked down to $18. It was $20. So we're using this sentiment here, always here for you. And I'm just going to stamp that using our black memento. Or you could heat emboss it if you wanted to in gold, but I didn't. So we're just going to use the black memento. And stamp it off to the left upper portion. And then we'll add that to the inside of our card. All right. Okay, card number 2. Very pretty. Sending hugs. Always here for you. All right. We'll pick up a little bit here and we'll go on to our next card. And I'm using the painted pumpkins again. I changed up our card for today. I had this one in the Peaceful Pine colors, but I changed this one up. I'm going to be using the Golden Glow. And I dropped the bow. Let me grab that. This is a fun fold. I guess you call it a book fold. It's one of my favorite fun folds, I think. Very easy. All right, so it says, hey. And then on the inside, I don't have nothing yet. So we're going to add an inside sentiment to the card that we're making today. And I used the painted pumpkins. And I also used the masks to color with. That comes with that. You get the dies, the stamp set, and the masks all in a bundle if you'd like. Oops, I bumped the camera again. Keep hitting that with my head. I got to stop that. All right, so let's get started. And like I said, we're going to be using the Golden Glow. Let's get that just set up there. Cardstock, Golden Glow cardstock. And our card base measures 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. And then it's scored at 5 1/2 inches and 4 1/4 inches. So we're going to go ahead and burnish those fold lines. And I want to make sure my card is folded straight here. I've got some overlapping here. I want to fix that a little bit. And then again, at the 4 1/2 inch, I'm going to just fold that back a little bit to break those fibers, just to make it more pliable. Looks like my bone folder needs cleaning. Got gook on there. All right, and then for the paper, I used, this is the 2026 to 2028 in color Gingham Gallery. It's item number 168218, and we're using the Golden Glow color. So I gotta decide if I want to use the small squares or if I want to use the large squares. I like both sides. Oh. Well, I guess I could alternate them. Do one side with the large squares, one side with the small squares. That would look okay. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and attach those. I'm going to use the small squares. I use the small squares on the small tab. So bring that glue back over here. Here the husband's back over here again. Gotta love him. He always picks my days and my lives to do the yard work for some reason. All right. Place that down on that front flap. And this one we'll place on that side seam. And I'm matching up top and bottom to get those the same distance. All right. We're going to set that aside. We're going to attach this down later, but I'm going to do the rest of the card first. That'll be one of our last things to do. All right. So to start with, I die cut our fences out of our early espresso cardstock. And let me show you those. These are the dies. Bring those all out here. Okay, so here's the fences. I die cut those. All right. Put those back on there so I don't lose them. And we'll set this aside. We're going to attach our fence down using dimensionals, or no. The big fence, I just glued it down, but the smaller one I put up on dimensionals. So let's go ahead and glue that larger fence down. And we're going to place that towards the left side. Get that all stuck down. And the small portion of the fence, I'm going to put that up on dimensionals. So let's grab those dimensionals back here. And where did they go? Here they are. I'm going to nip those down smaller. And I take your pick tool to grab those off with. Now it got quiet. Let's put that one in half. I think that's enough on there. We'll remove those backings. Oops, that one wasn't stuck right. I might have to grab another one. I don't think this one's very sticky or something. Let's grab a different one. Maybe I don't need it. Let me just go without it in the center. All right, and that's going to match up over our other fence, lining up those boards. All right, now we're going to set that aside and we're going to work on our pumpkins. We're going to stamp some pumpkins. And let me see here. I've already stamped and colored the golden glow ones, but I want to do our hydrangea hue for our other pumpkins. So let me grab my stamp. that goes along with that. We've got two different styles. We've got some skinny ones and we've got some fatter ones there. So these are the skinny ones. And what I do with my ink pad, black memento. And we'll just ink that all up. Get that saturated. And stamp that off onto our basic white cardstock. All right, and then we're going to bring our masks over here. We're going to start off with the number 1 mask, which is this one. And you could do different colors of ink, but I'm only going to do the one color, the hydrangea hue. And I'm thinking it might give us a good image. I want my pumpkins to be blue. So get this matched up there. And I'm going to use my, hold that in place. All right. And small blending brush. And we'll color our pumpkins hydrangea hue. They don't have to be the traditional orange pumpkins. We can change them up if we want. It's our choice. It's our card. All right, so there's our number 1 mat. We'll remove that and go to our number 2. And when you're done with these, all you do is rinse them off with warm water. They come clean. All right, and our number 2 mat is next. And I'm thinking I might be able to just hold this in place without taping it down. So you can put as much or as little as you want. There's no set rule on how much you have to put on there. Okay, so there's our number 2. And now number 3. And get that lined up onto those pumpkins. And again, I'm just going to hold it in place. Oops, I think my mat moved a little bit. There we go. Okay, I think that's good. I like that. Close up our pads. And now we're going to die cut our pumpkins. So I'm going to bring over our dies that match those. We've got 2 different ones that coordinate. And I'm going to use my Post-it notes to hold those in place so we can run them through our machine. And I don't know where my sticky side is here. And what did I do with the other one? There it is. Okay, so does anybody have big plans for the weekend? We don't. Just kind of the normal, same old, same old. Nothing special. All right, let's bring our cut and emboss machine back up here. And our plates. And I should be able to cut both at the same time. So let me scooch those over. And yeah, they'll fit. Run those through. Like I said, the creaking and cracking is normal. It's our plates doing that. All right. I think we're done with our machine. Put these aside. So we've got our hydrangea hue pumpkins. Very pretty. And then our golden glow pumpkins that I had ahead of time. Those are very pretty too. All right, so let's bring our card back over here. And we're going to start arranging our pumpkins on here. Oops, and I bumped the camera again. Keep hitting my head on it. I guess I must be sitting up too far. All right, we're going to start with our tall pumpkin first. And we'll kind of do a dry fit. Some are going to go on dimensionals and some are not. And then our tall one can go over here. And maybe this one in front of those. I'll put those up on dimensionals. And now decide which ones we want to use here. I'm going to put the blue one over here and this one right here. I think something like that. And then I also die cut some of our leaves and stems and such. This is die cut from our Peaceful Pine cardstock. I'm going to add those to our pumpkins. So let's start out and we'll attach this one down directly. And I think the other ones are all put up on dimensionals. So it's only the one pumpkin that's going to be glued down. And he's going to kind of fit up underneath that fence. And our other ones are going to go up on dimensionals, which I've got to grab my dimensionals. And this one goes next. We'll put him up underneath this one, off to the one side. I'm not really pushing down on these yet. I want to kind of do a dry fit a little bit to make sure I've got them where I want them to be. And this one. Goes in the center. And our bottom pumpkins are going to have our dimensionals down towards the bottom area of the pumpkin. The bottom edge. And I think I'll put this one over here and the blue one over here. Be sure, if you're watching the replay or the live, that you like and share my video on Facebook. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure you hit that subscribe button. All right. So I guess we're okay with that. And I guess that's okay right there. I was going to move it over, but I think it's good there. All right, and then we're going to grab our vines and we're going to pop those out of our dies. These are the leaves that are going to go up separately. Kind of a fill-in. let go. Here's a squiggly one. I guess we're doing okay on time. Yeah, just get these all knocked out of the dies, and then we'll start placing them down. All right. Get rid of our trash bits there. All right, we're going to start out with this one is going to come off of that large pumpkin there. So we're just going to put adhesive on the back of that. We're not putting dimensionals on these. So we'll run that down from the big pumpkin onto our little fence area. And this one is going to go up in this direction. And I kind of overlapped the pumpkin a little bit. I think my original, I put it up underneath it, but I think I like it on top. All right, and then next we have this little squiggly one. We're going to put coming off of this pumpkin, I think. So again, add a little adhesive. You could use your adhesive sheets ahead of time on these too if you wanted to make it a little bit easier instead of trying to get the glue in a small section that I didn't think I had. All right, now our leaves. These are our separate leaves. 3 different sizes are going to go maybe one back here. A large one up underneath this pumpkin. Well, come on, glue. Don't fail me now. And we'll slip that up underneath just a little bit. And then we have another small one. Do we want to place that anywhere? I guess we should. We're supposed to do things in odd numbers. So let's find a place for that one. Maybe up underneath this, kind of fill in that blank spot there. All right, so that's all of our pumpkins. Next, we're going to do stamp our sentiments, which I don't think I have a scrap piece for that. So we're going to have one over here that we have from the pumpkins. Well, we could use a smaller one here. And we're going to stamp hay. And we're going to use, let's try the Golden Glow ink pad. Go along with our paper. And we need a small corner. We're going to fussy cut this out. Let that ink soak in good. Hey. And then we shall fussy cut that out. And where is my detail scissors at? Cut that out to size, and then we're going to cut it down to size. And I just went around the letters, no particular way. Kind of rounding the edges, I guess. And let's round that off a little bit. This is going to go at the top here. And you could put that on dimensionals, or you could glue it straight down. I'm just going to glue it down. I don't know the way my glue is behaving. It might be easier to do the dimensionals. And hey. All right. And then next we're going to do our ribbon. This is our gingham ribbon. It is the, is it Mossy Meadow? Yeah, Mossy Meadow Berry Vanilla. And I'm just going to take a strip of that and run that alongside that. And snip that off. And I'm going to take my tear and tape to hold that in place. And we'll run that straight down the middle. Tear that paper backing off. Attach our ribbon. And I'm going to add a little more tear and tape on the inside to hold that ribbon in place. So a little strip at each end. Just to secure it a little bit better. I know it probably isn't going to go anywhere, but just to be sure, we don't want our cards falling apart. And we'll flip that over inside. And now we're going to adhere this down. And you could use tear and tape or your glue or tape runner, whichever you prefer to glue this down. And I had a little bit of runoff in there, so I have to clean that out. And I got a napkin here. I got carried away with the glue on the inside. We don't want that sticking, or we don't want it to stick. All right, and then I have a bow that I've already made on that same ribbon. We're going to attach to that layer right there with the mini glue dots. And pick that up, place it down. All right, and we're going to work on our inside layer. And where did I put that? I had one cut. I thought I did, but it has disappeared on me now. Maybe I didn't. Oh, I did. There it is. Our inside layer is our basic white, and it is 4 1/8 inches by 4 3/8 inches. It's going to go on to our inside, and I'm going to stamp. I got hay on the outside. I'm going to do I Hope Your Day is Fabulous. Is that the one I chose? Yeah, we'll use that one. And again, I'm going to use our Golden Glow to match the outside. And we'll stamp that in the center. All right, get our adhesive. We'll put that inside of our card. And then all we gotta do is add our embellishments. So, get this straight in here. Is anybody else challenged on getting things straight? I think that's probably one of my biggest challenges. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, get the glue off my fingers. Okay, so here's our card so far, but we're not done. We're going to add some bling to this. And this is called the 2026 to 2028 in color dots. And I'm going to go with the Golden Glow color. Looks like I need to order some pretty soon again. And I'm going to do one large one. We will put maybe right there, a small one below that. And another small one can go guess we can do them all in the line. Let's just kind of in a straight line. You could do a triangle, but I kind of messed it up and didn't position it right. So, oops, there I hit the camera again. So whatever works. All right, so that's our 3 cards for today. These are 2 different samples of those, the green or the Golden Glow. So get some room here. Here's our second card. That was our first card, I mean. There's our second card. So there's our cards for today. I hope you enjoyed them. Tell me which one is your favorite. Number 1, 2, or 3. And I will be back next week, which will be September. Can you believe it? September 3rd. Same time, same channels. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing. Let me know if you want me to make this little box for our sentiments and little file folders to keep them in. It comes in handy when you cut them up. You don't have to worry about where they are. They're right there in front of you, and you can just look through them and see which one you want. So I can see I've got some different assortments. So let me know if you want me to make that next time. Comes in handy. All right, so until next week, y'all have a good rest of your week. I hope you get some time to be able to do some crafting this week or this weekend. And I'll see you next week. Same time, same channels. Bye. Thank you for being here. Oh, and I want to thank you for your orders also. So I appreciate those. Those keep my videos free. Bye.